With the release of Rundown 5, we got all our favorite levels and guns back with it, which is really cool. But in the topic of guns, right, before we talk about the levels, there's always discourse in the GTA4 circle about what needs to be buffed, what needs to be nerfed. And sometimes, once in a blue moon, instead of eating each other up like rabid dogs, we actually coincide with one another and say, yes, we can all agree to this. And when it happens, it's beautiful because everybody in the community benefits. But sadly, tank chambers, sometimes it's just selective for some reason. They're like, whoa. Only one user feedback change per patch. Like, it's weird. Now, as a whole, the balance changes are pretty good. Sort of is a pocket pump shotty with 30 damage. Now you can one-shot chargers, which makes it unique since it's the only primary that can do that currently. Double tap have pretty good ammo in general, thanks to the buffs. But the issue comes from the fact that we just have way too many SMGs in the primary slot. Like, it's actually insane. You got the regular SMG, then you got the PDW, then you got the Carabine, and then if you really want to mix them up, you can put auto pistol, machine pistol in there. And then if you really want to push the envelope, since they all kind of share the same, like, same-ish stats, then you slap both of them in it. Like, it's just way too many guns that are way too similar to each other. And yeah, when it comes to those guns, you can buff them to separate them a little bit, right? But heavy SMG just have no business doing the primary slot at this point. Like, it makes no sense to pick heavy SMG in its current state. It does the same damage as a PDW with less bullets in the mag. And you don't have any thermals neither. You might as well just pick the regular SMG. Like, it makes no sense. Now, I think everybody can agree, well, not everybody, it's a figure speech, right? But everybody can agree that the heavy SMG needs to be on the special slot. The same way heavy assault rifle got put into the special slot, the same thing needs to happen to this gun. And it will make it cool because it will be the first SMG to be on the special slot, which will make it unique, and it will compete with the shotguns on the CQC category. So instead of, you know, if you're getting bored of combat shotgun, you can bring something a little bit more reliable like heavy SMG. You know, it'll be really cool, and it will categorize the heavy as, you know, a special weapon. So it'll make sense. I suggested this a whole year ago. I don't know why this thing is still on the primary slot. Please just slap it in the special. Next patch. Please, tank chambers. I beg you. So when it comes to Rundown 5 levels, there were just nerfs across the board. They did add some quality of life stuff like R5C1 got an intermediate zone in between the respawn rooms so you don't get an unfair pull by the Shadow Giant error at the end of Extreme. And then on D2 the Charger zone got flipped so you cannot just easily snipe the Scout and not pull 17 charges with it. So they made that level slightly harder. And that's cool, but I kinda just wish Rundown 5 was like 10% more difficult, right? Because right now it just feels like they just slap a Snatcher on like a couple levels and call it a day. And that's fine, right? But it's kinda weird too because Rundown 7 introduces the Snatcher, but we're seeing them in Rundown 5, which is a little bit weird, you know, and it makes no sense, for me at least. You know, if you read some of the logs and stuff, it just don't make sense. And that's fine, but the difficulty, in my opinion, is not there anymore. It's a more balanced experience for most people, true. But I will say that Rundown 5 was supposed to be that mountain of difficulty that GTA 4 is supposed to offer. And with the nerfs and all the stuff, I think just the flaw of Rundown 5 being long just shines more. And I know I'm kinda like naive to think they will rework some of the levels, like B1 Extreme, make it a generator cluster so it'll make the fog go up and down, or maybe make it non-infectious at the end of it so you will get a payoff, right? For going like 20 minutes, you know. A rework side objective will be cool. And maybe B4 will be a lot more action packed, so if you are actually good at killing stuff, you don't just sit at the security door for like a minute and a half each time you kill a wave. so it's not boring. And I can go on and on, but you know, sadly, these things happen. And, you know, I'm naive. That's my fault. So overall, with the changes and the nerfs, this is a healthier approach. There is less bullshit to deal with. It's a lot more fair. So the majority of groups will not struggle as much, unlike the original. So this is better and is good for the health of the game. That said, my personal opinion, this is a 6 out of 10 because it just enhances the long aspect of Rundown 5 and it's not nearly as challenging, but that's just because I already played this a year and a half ago. But overall, this is good. That said, if everybody can get past R5B1 Extreme, if you don't die of boredom doing that objective. Now that I stopped rambling about Rundown 5 and its obvious things going on, I kinda wanna talk about the state of the game for a little. And it honestly kinda sucks because they could be doing a lot more with GTFO to make it a more social game like it was in the beginning of early access, right? Now personally there isn't really a lot of things going on and it's kinda bland. Because obviously they're just re-releasing the same rundowns that they worked on like 2-3 years ago. Like there are no events, and if there is an event, it's usually just beat A1 and get a free mask, and that's it. Like it's extremely boring, and honestly people just jump in for like 10 minutes and finish the level, and that's it, they go home. And that's kind of bad because that's not how you like actually bring people in or make people gather around to say, hey, what's going on here, right? Because if you look at the developers tools, everything is made to 1, save time, and 2, easy to make stuff. Like their level generation and enemy creation is extremely simple and easy to work with. And the good thing about that is that they can just shit out content quick, and that kind of bothers me a little bit because you can make so much cool shit, especially as a developer. Like you can make some cool events with GTFO and they just don't do it. I know they're making a different game now, right? And they want to forget about GTFO already, right? But there's so much stuff that you can do without having it be a whole update. Like just something that happens that people can play with. And just for the challenge and the gameplay, right? Like you can grab an already existing level for the next 2 weeks, right? And you buff it, like R3D1. And you swap out the error for a shadow error and you got invisible giants. And at the end, on the PMON fight, you have the PMON alongside a bunch of giants or chargers, you know? And things like that would be really cool, you know? Hell, you can even make it so that when you open the warden door, the blood door that's behind the PMAM opens, so you have a huge fight going on at the same time, and that would be crazy fun to play. And then once you run out of levels, then you can easily just cycle them out seasonally. Every like couple of weeks, just swap them out with the previous one and the previous one, and so far and so on. Like there's so many cool ideas that I could just think right now that would just make GTFO a more active game compared to, you know, its other competitors out there. Now another thing I want to talk about is the modding situation. Now we're not digging the past, let's just not talk about that. This is a whole different thing I want to talk about. The thing that I want to talk about is mostly the modding community's health in a way. They don't have the mono build available to them, which means that they don't have a code for reference, which means making mods and plugins sucks. Many mods are pretty much dying, and when it comes to plugins, like let's say for example the cinematic camera mod, right, which if I'm being honest is not really a mod since it is part of the vanilla game, you just don't have access to it. And I asked Kajo about it and he said that it's a it is in a non-public state, which is kind of a lie because there's like 17 different trailers already using, you know, the cinematic camera that they have available, and it probably isn't that hard to implement because it's already inside the game. I think the game would benefit a lot if the developers would just have a more lax attitude towards the game. Because if I'm being honest, if you look at the history of Team Chambers with this game, they're always like doing something and then they just backtrack into doing what people say anyways. And it honestly just doesn't make any sense at this point, at least of this game lifetime, to be this way. You know, to be this restrictive when it comes to modding. Give power to the people, and honestly the people will take care of you. That's the reason why we play GTA 4 over and over and over, because it's insanity. We know it's not gonna change, but we are like, give me the next rundown! Give me the next rundown! And then you keep... It's insanity! It's insanity!